ready to push those brain cells to the limit. Today's deep dive, we're tackling a question that's been a real head-scratcher for as long as we've been thinking about AI. Can AI truly understand the world? Or is it all just really, really good mimicry?
It's a question that goes to the very heart of intelligence itself, and this paper tackles it through the lens of a game that's captivated minds for centuries, Go.
And we're diving into the paper, does AlphaGo actually play Go?
We're going to be using AlphaGo as a sort of springboard into this huge philosophical debate about the nature of intelligence and what it means to understand.
Love that. No need to rehash the whole Go is really complex thing. Our listeners, they get it. So let's cut right to the chase. We're not interested in just what AlphaGo achieved, but the how. How did it actually approach the game?
Yeah.
And how does that differ from, say, how Deep Blue took on chess?
See, that's where things get really fascinating. Deep Blue, I was all about brute force computation, crunching millions of moves per second.
Pure processing power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But AlphaGo, it took a completely different route. This is where we get into self-learning neural network.
Okay, hold on. Now we're talking self-learning. This is where things get juicy. Give us the lowdown.
So instead of being pre-programmed with strategies and human knowledge, AlphaGo actually taught itself to play Go. It's wild.
Wait, so it just played against itself?
Essentially, yeah. Millions and millions of times, learning from each win, each loss. And that's how it got so good, surpassing even its own predecessors, which were already amazing. We're talking about a qualitative leap in AI capabilities here.
That's mind-blowing, honestly. But it begs a huge question, right? If this AI can teach itself, adapt, even surpass human expertise, can we really say it understands the game?
The million-dollar question. And that's exactly the conundrum the paper dives into.
Because part of me is thinking, is it real understanding? Or is it just an incredibly complex illusion of understanding?
And this is where we bump up against what's known as the black box problem.
Okay, hit me with it. What's the black box problem?
We understand the structure of neural networks, how the layers are connected, but the inner workings, the precise processes by which it learns and represents information, that's still a bit of a mystery.
We've built this crazy complex system that can learn and strategize, and we don't even fully get how it's doing it.
That's the gist of it. And it's a question that pops up again and again when we're grappling with AI.
Makes you wonder about the nature of intelligence itself, right?
Absolutely. And the paper digs into this even further with another fascinating example. DQN. This was a deep learning system trained on Atari games, specifically Breakout.
Breakout, classic. I remember spending hours on that game.
Well, DQN didn't just master the game. It started developing these crazy, unorthodox strategies that even the programmers who built the thing were surprised by.
Hold on. So the AI was coming up with winning strategies that its creators didn't even program into it.
You got it. Which raises another big question. If we don't know how it's coming up with these strategies, can we say it's really playing the game?
Yeah.
Or is it just recognizing patterns on a scale we can't even fathom?
Okay, yeah, that's both impressive and kind of creepy, I'm not going to lie.
Right, it really makes you think. And this leads us to a fundamental question in AI, something philosophers call the symbol grounding problem.
Symbol grounding problem, lay it on me.
So think about the symbols on a Go board or the pixels in an Atari game. They represent real-world objects, concepts, actions.
Right, the little paddle, the ball, the bricks and Breakout, they all correspond to something in the real world.
Exactly. But the question is, how do those symbols within the AI system actually acquire meaning? How are they grounded in the real world?
Okay, so the AI might recognize the ball in Breakout, but does it really understand what a ball is with all its physical properties, its weight, its texture?
Exactly. That's the crux of it. And the paper uses a really interesting thought experiment to illustrate the Chinese room argument.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one. But a little refresher never hurts. It's the one with the person who doesn't speak Chinese, right?
Right. Imagine a person inside a room.
They're in a room, and they've got this giant rule book for Chinese, but they don't actually speak a word of it, right?
That's the setup. They get these questions slipped under the door, written in Chinese, and using the rule book, they have to figure out how to respond, also in Chinese.
Okay, so they're basically just manipulating symbols based on a set of instructions. They don't actually understand what any of it means.
Precisely. And the point is, to someone outside the room, it looks like there's a fluent Chinese speaker inside, but it's all just an illusion, right?
Right, because just being able to follow rules and manipulate symbols, even really well, doesn't equal actual understanding.
And that's the connection to AI that the paper is making. Even with these super advanced algorithms, AI systems might be stuck in their own kind of Chinese room. They're manipulating symbols, sure, but whether those symbols are truly grounded in real-world understanding is a whole other ballgame.
So you're saying an AI could be a Go master, playing at this superhuman level, but still not really grasp the game the way a human player does.
Think about it, the history, the social dynamics, all the stuff that surrounds the game itself, that's all part of the human experience of playing Go, and that's something AI doesn't have access to.
It's like the difference between knowing the rules of chess and understanding the nuances of a match between two grandmasters who've been playing for decades.
Right, and the paper takes us even further by bringing in the work of Ludwig Wittgenstein. I think you'll find his perspective on this is really fascinating.
All right, hit me with some Wittgenstein. Always up for expanding my philosophical horizons.
So Wittgenstein, he argued that even games, which we often think of as these purely logical systems with clear rules, are actually deeply social. He said, the meaning of a game, any game, comes from how it's practiced, shared, understood within a community.
So it's not just about the rules themselves, but the shared understanding that gives those rules meaning. Like knowing the rules is one thing, but there's a whole other level of understanding that comes from playing the game with other people.
Exactly. And the paper uses this to suggest that while AI can master the rules of a game, it's missing that social and cultural context that contributes to a really deep, nuanced understanding.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these different ideas fit together. But I have to admit, this is a lot to wrap my head around. Does the paper offer any kind of framework for understanding where we're at with AI right now?
It does. The paper proposes that we look at AI through three main dimensions: self-learning, generalization, and grounding. We've already touched on self-learning with AlphaGo Zero and how it learned to play Go on its own. Generalization is all about an AI's ability to take what it's learned and apply it to other tasks.
So instead of just being a Go whiz, an AI with good generalization could also say, learn to play chess or even compose music.
Exactly. Now, this third dimension, grounding, this is where things get really interesting. Grounding is about the connection between an AI system and the real world. How do those symbols inside the system actually get their meaning? How are they grounded in reality?
Right, that whole symbol grounding problem we were talking about earlier. So are you saying that while AI is really good at self-learning and to some extent generalization, grounding is still the big hurdle?
You nailed it. The paper argues that grounding is the key challenge that AI still hasn't overcome.
You know, part of me is a little relieved to hear that. I mean, it's amazing what AI can do, but the idea that it might understand the world better than we do, that's a little unsettling, to be honest.
Yeah, I get that. And it just goes to show how important these discussions are. We have to be willing to grapple with the philosophical questions that AI raises, even if they make us a little uncomfortable.
It's like we're standing on the edge of something completely new. We've created machines that can learn, strategize, create. But the question of whether they truly understand is still up for debate. So where do we go from here? What does the paper have to say about the future of AI? It really does feel like we're trying to solve a puzzle, but we're missing some of the pieces, or maybe we don't even have the box to know what the picture is supposed to be.
Perfect analogy. And the paper doesn't give us the answer because, well, there isn't a clear answer yet. But it does offer some really interesting possibilities for how we might move forward in AI. One of the key takeaways for me was the idea that the future of AI might not be about replicating human intelligence, but rather exploring completely different forms of intelligence.
So instead of trying to make AI think exactly like us, we should be open to the idea that it might understand and interact with the world in ways that are totally different from how we do it.
Precisely. AI that doesn't just mimic human thought, but complements it, offering totally new perspectives, solutions that, with our limited human way of thinking, we might never even consider.
Now that's exciting. We always get so caught up in thinking about AI as competition, something that's going to replace us. But what if it could be a collaborator, a partner in figuring out the really big questions?
That's the potential the paper really highlights. This capacity AI has for massive data processing and analysis. It could be a game changer for scientific discovery, for art, for music, maybe even for understanding consciousness itself.
So not replacing human intelligence, but enhancing it, amplifying it, leading to breakthroughs we can't even imagine yet.
Exactly. And to do that, the paper argues that we have to bridge that gap between AI and the real world. We have to figure out how to give these systems genuine understanding.
Which brings us back to this issue of grounding. If current AI is still stuck in that Chinese room, following rules without truly getting it, how do we break through that? How do we get to an AI that interacts with the world on a deeper level?
Well, the paper explores a few possibilities. One that's really intriguing is the concept of embodied AI. So not just algorithms, but AI that exists in the real world, interacts with the environment through sensors, just like we do.
So instead of just processing data, embodied AI would learn through direct experience, building up a kind of understanding that comes from moving through the world, bumping into things, so to speak.
Exactly. Think about it. So much of our own understanding of space, time, even things like cause and effect, it's all shaped by our bodies, our senses.
It makes you wonder, maybe true understanding does require some kind of embodiment, some way to connect those abstract symbols back to this messy physical reality we live in.
It's a question researchers are wrestling with right now. And the paper points to another potential piece of the puzzle: social interaction.
So not just AI that learns from data, but AI that learns from us, from conversations, from interactions, even just picking up on all the subtle cues in human communication.
Exactly. Think about how much we learn by interacting with each other, telling stories, sharing perspectives, that messy, unpredictable back and forth. That's all part of how we make sense of the world, of ourselves.
It's like the difference between looking up a word in a dictionary and actually using it in conversation. That's where the real understanding comes from, those subtle shades of meaning.
Can the paper suggest that for AI to really understand, it might need to participate in that kind of social learning, not just treating us as data points, but as partners in figuring things out?
This whole conversation has been a real mind bender. It's not just about building smarter machines, it's about rethinking what smart even means. What if there are other kinds of intelligence out there, ways of understanding the world that we haven't even imagined yet?
And that's what I find so exciting about this whole field. We're not just trying to create artificial versions of ourselves. We might be on the verge of encountering something truly other, something that challenges our assumptions, expands our understanding of what intelligence could be.
It's awe-inspiring. And I'll admit, a little intimidating. Like we're standing on the edge of something massive, something that could change everything.
It certainly feels that way. And as the paper makes clear, it's a journey that demands more than just technological innovation. We need philosophical reflection. We need ethical awareness. And maybe even more importantly, we need to be comfortable with not having all the answers.
Well said. I think we've given our listeners plenty to chew on today.
We've explored the incredible capabilities of AI, dived into the symbol grounding problem, even glimpsed some potential pathways to AI that truly understands.
And just as importantly, we've highlighted why asking these big questions matters. Why we can't shy away from the thorny issues, especially with a field that's evolving so rapidly.
The future of AI isn't something that's going to be decided for us. It's something we're all shaping through the questions we ask, the choices we make.
It's a shared responsibility, really.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm excited to see where this all leads.
Me too. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
And to our listeners, until next time, stay curious.